What I'm about to reveal will fundamentally alter your understanding of reality itself. There exists a 600-year-old manuscript that has baffled the world's greatest code breakers, defeated NASA scientists, and stumped AI supercomputers. Written in a language that doesn't exist, filled with plants that have never been discovered, and containing scientific knowledge that predates its supposed discovery by centuries. But that's just the beginning. Tonight, we're diving into 12 unexplained mysteries so bizarre, so impossible, and so thoroughly documented that they will shatter everything you thought you knew about our world. Before we descend into the most mind-bending exploration of the unexplained you've ever witnessed, I need you to prepare yourself mentally. What you're about to discover has no logical explanation, defies scientific understanding, and will leave you questioning the very nature of reality. Fair warning, mystery number 8 on our list is so disturbing, so inexplicably terrifying, that it literally drove people insane. Scientists still can't explain what happened, and those who witnessed it firsthand refuse to speak about it to this day. Mystery number 1, the Voynich Manuscript. Our journey begins in the hallowed halls of Yale University, where one of history's most perplexing enigmas sits locked away from public view. The Voynich Manuscript, a 600-year-old book written in a language that has never existed, filled with botanical illustrations of plants that have never been discovered. Discovered in 1912 by rare book dealer Wilfred Voynich, this mysterious tome contains 240 vellum pages of the most elaborate, detailed, and utterly incomprehensible writing system ever encountered. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-bending. The manuscript displays advanced knowledge of astronomy, biology, pharmacology, and cosmology that wouldn't be officially discovered for another 200 to 300 years after its creation. It contains detailed star charts that match no known constellation patterns, pharmaceutical recipes using plants that don't exist, and anatomical diagrams that suggest knowledge of human physiology beyond medieval understanding. World-renowned cryptographers have spent lifetimes attempting to decode it. The FBI, CIA, and NSA have all taken cracks at it. IBM's supercomputers, Google's AI systems, and even modern quantum computing have been deployed against its secrets. The result? Complete and utter failure. The Voynich manuscript has defeated every attempt at translation, leading some researchers to a chilling conclusion: it may not be of human origin at all. Recent carbon dating confirms its medieval age, yet linguistic analysis suggests the writing system follows patterns too complex and consistent to be random, too alien to be human. Some pages appear to fold out into detailed maps of places that don't exist on Earth. In 2019, a computer analysis revealed something that sent shockwaves through the academic community. The manuscript's text follows linguistic patterns that mirror no known human language, yet display statistical regularities that suggest genuine communication. It's as if someone with a completely alien understanding of language and science documented knowledge were only beginning to comprehend. Mystery number 2, the Towels hum the sound that shouldn't exist. From ancient mysteries, we leap into modern inexplicable phenomena. In the small town of Taos, New Mexico, approximately 2% of the population, around 160 people are slowly being driven insane by a sound that doesn't exist. They call it the Towels hum, a persistent, low-frequency droning sound that these individuals hear 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no identifiable source. But here's what makes this mystery absolutely terrifying: no recording equipment has ever detected this sound. Sufferers describe it as a diesel engine idling in the distance, a refrigerator running constantly, or the drone of distant machinery. The sound is so maddening that several people have attempted suicide to escape it. Others have abandoned their homes, their careers, their entire lives, fleeing Taos in desperate attempts to find silence. No electromagnetic interference, no seismic activity, no atmospheric anomalies, no industrial sources. According to every scientific instrument ever deployed, the Towels hum doesn't exist. Yet the suffering continues. Here's where the mystery becomes truly spine-chilling. Similar hums have been reported in England, Australia, Canada, and over 40 locations worldwide. In each case, only a small percentage of the population can hear it, recording equipment detects nothing, and the psychological impact is devastating. The Taos hum continues today. Right now, as you're watching this video, 160 people in New Mexico are listening to a sound that science says doesn't exist, slowly losing their sanity to an impossible mystery. Mystery number 3, the wow signal. Alien contact or cosmic anomaly? On August 15, 1977, at 11:16 p.m. Eastern Time, humanity may have received its first confirmed message from an extraterrestrial civilization. Or we encountered something far stranger than alien contact, something that challenges our understanding of physics itself. Dr. Jerry Eman was analyzing radio telescope data at Ohio State University's Big Ear Observatory when he discovered something that made him scribble wow in red ink on the computer printout, hence the name. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds, came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, and exhibited characteristics that should be impossible. The signal was 30 times stronger than typical background noise, transmitted at precisely 1420.405 MHz, the exact frequency that hydrogen atoms emit when transitioning between energy states. This frequency is considered the universal communication channel because any technologically advanced civilization would recognize its significance. But here's what makes the wow signal absolutely mind-bending. For a natural celestial object to generate a signal of that strength at that frequency, it would need to harness the energy equivalent of billions of suns focused into a narrow beam pointed directly at Earth. No known natural phenomenon can produce such a transmission. Despite decades of searching, the wow signal has never repeated. Thousands of hours of observation time on the world's most powerful radio telescopes have detected nothing. It was a 72-second message from the cosmos that arrived once and disappeared forever. Mystery number 4, the dancing plague of 1518 mass hysteria or supernatural phenomenon? In July 1518, the city of Strasbourg witnessed one of the most bizarre and terrifying events in recorded history. What began with a single woman dancing in the street escalated into a supernatural nightmare that claimed dozens of lives and has never been satisfactorily explained. It started with Frau Trophia, who stepped into the street and began dancing. Not celebrating, not performing, but dancing with desperate, frenzied movements as if her life depended on it. She danced for 6 days straight, her feet bleeding, her body convulsing, unable to stop. Within a week, 34 others had joined her. By August, over 400 people were trapped in this supernatural dance, moving continuously, day and night, without rest, without food, without any apparent conscious control over their actions. Here's what makes this mystery absolutely chilling. Chroniclers of the time documented that many dancers literally danced themselves to death. Heart attacks, strokes, and exhaustion claimed lives as people danced for weeks without stopping. Medical examination revealed no toxins, no infections, no physical cause for the compulsive movement. The local authorities, believing the dancing was caused by hot blood, prescribed more dancing as a cure. They built stages, hired musicians, and encouraged the afflicted to dance even more vigorously. The result? The plague spread faster. What makes the dancing plague impossible to dismiss is the quality of historical documentation. Multiple independent chroniclers, medical authorities, and civic records all corroborate the same impossible story. This wasn't folklore or legend, it was a documented medical emergency that defied explanation. The dancing plague of 1518 represents something that challenges our understanding of human psychology, social behavior, and the relationship between mind and body. 400 people danced against their will until dozens died, and we still have no idea why. I need to pause here because what we've discovered so far is absolutely mind-shattering. We've encountered a book written in a language that doesn't exist, sounds that torture people but can't be recorded, cosmic messages from impossible sources, and mass supernatural dancing that killed people. Mystery number 5, the Dyatlov Pass incident, the impossible tragedy. On the night of February 2, 1959, 9 experienced hikers died on a remote mountainside in the Ural Mountains under circumstances so bizarre, so inexplicable, that the Russian government classified the case for over 30 years and the official cause of death remains unknown. Compelling force. The Discovery Nightmare. When the hikers failed to return, search teams discovered their tent cut open from the inside, as if the occupants had frantically escaped into the -30 degrees Fahrenheit wilderness, wearing only underwear and socks. Footprints led away from the tent, showing the hikers had left calmly, in single file, with no signs of panic. But here's where the mystery becomes absolutely terrifying. The bodies, when found weeks later, exhibited injuries that defied medical explanation. Ludmila Dubinina was found missing her tongue, eyes and parts of her lips, with no signs of struggle or external trauma. Georgy Krivonischenko and Yuri Dorosenko had signs of extreme radiation exposure, despite being nowhere near any known radiation source. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol and Ludmila Dubinina had massive internal trauma, crushed ribs, fractured skulls, injuries consistent with being struck by a car or falling from great height, yet their skin showed no external damage. The pathologists stated the force required would exceed human capability. Semyon Zolotaryov was missing his eyes and had significant chest trauma. Alexander Kovatov showed evidence of radiation exposure. The clothing of several hikers contained radioactive contamination that couldn't be explained. 60 years later, with modern forensic technology, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains unexplained. Russian authorities reopened the case in 2019, only to close it again with the conclusion that an avalanche caused the deaths, despite the complete absence of avalanche evidence, and the fact that avalanches don't explain radiation exposure, missing body parts, or impossible internal injuries. The most chilling aspect of the Dyatlov Pass incident. Similar unexplained deaths have occurred in the same region both before and after 1959, suggesting an ongoing phenomenon that authorities are desperate to keep secret. Mystery number 6, the Bermuda Triangle's Flight 19, the Vanishing Squadron. December 5, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy bombers take off from Fort Lauderdale on a routine training mission over the Atlantic Ocean. 2 hours later, they vanish without a trace, along with the rescue plane sent to find them. 6 aircraft, 27 men, disappeared into thin air over an area that would become synonymous with the impossible. The final radio transmissions from Flight 19 are what make this mystery truly spine-chilling. Lieutenant Charles Taylor, the flight leader, radioed, "We are entering white water, nothing seems right. We don't know where we are, the water is green, no white. Minutes later, we can't find west. Everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Everything looks strange, even the ocean." The compasses on all 5 aircraft had simultaneously malfunctioned, something that Navy investigators deemed impossible under normal circumstances. The final transmission sent chills through Naval Command. "It looks like we are entering white water. We're completely lost." Scientific impossibility. What makes Flight 19 impossible to explain rationally is the simultaneous compass malfunction across 5 separate aircraft. Magnetic compass failure requires specific electromagnetic interference that doesn't occur naturally over open ocean. Weather conditions were ideal, visibility was excellent, and all pilots were experienced. The aircraft had sufficient fuel for several additional hours of flight. There was no storm system, no enemy activity, no mechanical issues reported. The ongoing phenomenon. Flight 19 was not an isolated incident. The Bermuda Triangle has claimed over 1,000 lives in similar disappearances, aircraft vanishing from radar, ships found abandoned with no crew, compasses spinning wildly, and radio communications cutting out without explanation. modern GPS systems have been known to malfunction in the same area. Commercial pilots routinely report instrument failures, sudden weather changes that don't appear on satellite imagery, and electronic malfunctions that resolve as soon as they leave the triangle. The most disturbing reality? Flight 19's disappearance continues to influence military flight plans. The US Navy quietly routes training missions around certain coordinates in the triangle, though they've never publicly acknowledged why. Mystery number 7. The Oak Island Money Pit, the world's longest treasure hunt. For over 220 years, Oak Island in Nova Scotia has consumed fortunes, claimed lives, and driven treasure hunters to obsession in pursuit of what may be history's greatest buried treasure, or humanity's most elaborate hoax. The mystery has baffled engineers, archaeologists, and historians while revealing technology that shouldn't have existed when it was built. The impossible engineering. In 1795, 3 teenagers discovered a depression in the ground with a tackle block hanging from an oak tree above it. Digging revealed a shaft with oak platforms every 10 feet, extending down into the earth. At 90 feet, they found a stone tablet with inscriptions that translated to, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds lie buried. But here's where the mystery becomes a technological impossibility. The shaft is protected by an ingenious flood trap system that channels seawater from the ocean through underground tunnels. When diggers reach approximately 100 feet, the pit floods with thousands of gallons of seawater, making excavation nearly impossible. Advanced technology mystery. The engineering required to construct this flood trap system would challenge modern technology. Underground channels carved through solid rock, precise water flow calculations, and a triggering mechanism that activates at specific depths, all supposedly built in the 13th-18th century using hand tools. Over 220 years of excavation have revealed tantalizing clues, fragments of parchment, pieces of lead, mysterious metal objects, and layers of clay and stone that show clear evidence of human construction. But every attempt to reach the bottom has been thwarted by flooding. The curse and the deaths. Legend states that 7 people must die before the Oak Island treasure can be found. So far, 6 people have died in excavation attempts, and the treasure remains elusive. Modern investigation using ground-penetrating radar, seismic scanning, and deep drilling has revealed even more mysteries. There appear to be multiple chambers, artificial caverns, and metal objects at depths exceeding 200 feet. The ongoing obsession. Today, the Lagina brothers and their team continue excavation using millions of dollars in modern equipment. Recent discoveries include medieval reed cross, pieces of ancient parchment, and evidence of human activity dating back over 500 years. Whether it contains pirate treasure, religious artifacts, or something far stranger, Oak Island represents a mystery that has consumed more money, time, and lives than any treasure hunt in history, and we're still no closer to understanding what lies at the bottom of the money pit. Mystery number 8. The Antikythera mechanism, ancient technology that shouldn't exist. In 1901, Greek sponge divers discovered what would become the most mind-bending archaeological find in human history, a 2,100-year-old device so technologically advanced that nothing comparable would be invented for another 1,500 years. The Antikythera mechanism is quite literally a computer from ancient Greece. Impossible ancient computing. This bronze device, no larger than a shoebox, contains over 40 precision-machined bronze gears that function as an astronomical computer capable of predicting the positions of the sun, moon, and planets with extraordinary accuracy. It could calculate solar and lunar eclipses, track the 4-year cycle of Olympic Games, and follow the complex 19-year metonic cycle of lunar phases. Technological impossibility. Recent CT scanning and 3D modeling have revealed the full complexity of the Antikythera mechanism. It contains differential gears, a technology not reinvented until the 1720s. The device could perform complex mathematical calculations that required knowledge of advanced astronomy, mathematics, and mechanical engineering. The ancient Greeks possessed no known technology capable of machining such precise components. No contemporary texts describe anything remotely similar. It's as if someone dropped a laptop computer into ancient Athens and left no explanation for how it was created. What makes the Antikythera mechanism truly impossible to explain is not just its technology, but the astronomical knowledge it contains. The device accurately tracks celestial movements that require centuries of careful observation and mathematical modeling. It contains knowledge of planetary orbits, lunar anomalies, and solar positioning that wasn't officially discovered until the work of Copernicus, Kepler, and Newton. Yet this ancient computer was calculating these movements 2,000 years earlier. The missing civilization. The most disturbing implication of the Antikythera mechanism? It suggests the existence of an advanced ancient civilization with technological and scientific capabilities that have been completely erased from historical record. If the ancient Greeks could create such sophisticated mechanical computers, what other technologies did they possess? Why do we have no other examples of such devices? What happened to the knowledge and skills required to create them? The Antikythera mechanism stands as proof that our understanding of ancient technological capability is fundamentally flawed. It's a device that shouldn't exist, containing knowledge that wasn't supposed to be discovered for another millennium and a half. Mystery number 9. The Nazca Lines. Impossible ancient artwork. Carved into the Peruvian desert are over 800 straight lines, 300 geometric shapes, and 70 animal and plant designs so massive they can only be fully appreciated from an altitude of 1,500 feet. Created by the Nazca civilization between 500 BCE and 500 CE, these geoglyphs represent one of archaeology's most baffling mysteries. Precision beyond human capability. The Nazca lines demonstrate a level of geometric precision that challenges our understanding of ancient surveying capabilities. Some lines stretch perfectly straight for over 30 miles across desert terrain, maintaining precise angles and measurements despite crossing valleys, hills, and rocky terrain. The famous Nazca spider measures 150 feet in length and is geometrically perfect, with proportions that match real spider anatomy down to microscopic details. The hummingbird spans 300 feet and captures the essence of flight with mathematical precision. The aerial perspective mystery. Here's what makes the Nazca lines absolutely mind-bending. They were designed to be viewed from the air, created by a civilization that had no known capability of flight. From ground level, the lines appear as random scratches in the desert. Only from high altitude do they reveal their true artistry and complexity. The ancient Nazca people would have needed aerial perspective to plan, design, and execute these massive geoglyphs. Yet there's no archaeological evidence of any ancient South American civilization possessing flight technology. Advanced astronomical knowledge. Recent analysis has revealed that many Nazca lines align with astronomical events, solstices, equinoxes, and the rising of specific constellations. The creators possessed sophisticated understanding of astronomy and were able to incorporate celestial knowledge into landscape-scale artwork. Some lines point to horizon positions where bright stars appeared at significant times in the Nazca calendar, suggesting the entire desert served as a massive astronomical observatory and ritual site. The preservation mystery. The Nazca lines have survived for over 1,500 years in pristine condition due to the desert's unique climate, but their preservation also raises questions about their original purpose. Why create permanent artwork that can only be viewed from an impossible perspective? The Nazca lines remain one of humanity's most spectacular achievements and most confounding mysteries, ancient artwork that shouldn't exist, created by people who couldn't have seen their own masterpiece. Mystery number 10. Easter Island's Moai statues. Ancient engineering impossibility. On one of the most remote islands on Earth, nearly 1,000 massive stone statues stand sentinel across a landscape where such monumental construction should have been impossible. The Moai of Easter Island represent an engineering feat that challenges everything we know about ancient Polynesian capabilities. Easter Island is 2,300 miles from the nearest populated land, surrounded by vast Pacific Ocean, with no native stone suitable for carving, and no trees large enough for construction. Yet the Rapa Nui people somehow quarried, carved, and transported nearly 1,000 statues weighing 10 to 80 tons each across the island. The largest completed Moai weighs 82 tons and stands 33 feet tall. To put this in perspective, moving such massive stones would challenge modern equipment, yet the Rapa Nui accomplished this using technology that shouldn't have existed in Polynesian culture. The transportation mystery. Here's what makes the Moai absolutely mind-bending. They were carved at Ranoraraku Quarry, then somehow transported up to 11 miles across the island to their final positions. Recent excavations have revealed that many statues are buried up to their necks, with 4 bodies extending deep underground. Local legends state that the statues walked to their destinations. For centuries, this was dismissed as mythology. But recent experiments have demonstrated that teams of people using ropes could walk the statues upright across the landscape, a technique that requires sophisticated understanding of physics and engineering. Advanced astronomical alignment. The Moai are not randomly placed. Many are positioned to align with astronomical events, particularly the winter and summer solstices. The 7-statue Ahua Kivi platform is precisely aligned with the spring equinox, and the statues face the setting sun on this sacred day. This astronomical alignment suggests the Rapa Nui possessed sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics and were able to incorporate this knowledge into their monumental architecture. The collapse mystery. The most haunting aspect of Easter Island is what happened to its civilization. At its peak, the island supported 10,000 to 15,000 people, with a complex society capable of creating nearly 1,000 massive stone statues. By the time European explorers arrived, the population had collapsed to fewer than 2,000 people. The island was deforested, the statue construction ceased abruptly, and the sophisticated civilization that created the Moai had vanished. What catastrophic event could have destroyed such an advanced society? What connects all these mysteries isn't their impossibility, it's what they reveal about the limits of human understanding. Each represents evidence that our world is far stranger, far more complex, and far more mysterious than our scientific knowledge suggests. These aren't ancient problems that modern science has solved. They're ongoing enigmas that continue to challenge our brightest minds, our most advanced technology, and our fundamental assumptions about reality. Perhaps the most unsettling realization is this: if these documented, investigated, verified mysteries exist, what other impossibilities are happening around us every day that we simply haven't discovered yet? The unexplained doesn't exist in some distant past or remote location. It surrounds us, challenges us, and reminds us that despite all our technological advancement, the universe still holds secrets that may forever remain beyond human comprehension. If these unexplained mysteries have blown your mind, if you've discovered phenomena that challenged your understanding of reality, smash that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the impossible. In the comments, tell me, which mystery shocked you the most? Which one do you think will eventually be solved? And most importantly, have you ever experienced something unexplained that you can't logically explain? Remember, the universe is under no obligation to make sense to us. These mysteries exist as proof that reality is far stranger, far more wonderful, and far more terrifying than we dare imagine. Sweet dreams.